Welcome back. Equal economic, political and social rights and opportunities for all. That's the ideal, but how do we make it a reality? It's the question lawmakers are dealing with around the country. Delegates from all across the world now, in fact, are going to meet to discuss just that. They'll be taking part in the second annual Social Justice Summit. It'll be convened by Stellenbosch University's Social Justice Chair, Professor Thuli Madonsela. Let's welcome her to the South African Morning here on eNCA via Skype. Prof, good morning to you. And I think so many people are going to find this interesting when I read this to you, as far as being able to do what we talk about as far as the advancement of equality and the elimination of poverty as part of a sustainable development goal. All of the issues you're addressing is in our constitution, a constitution globally recognized as one of the leading constitutions, yet we can't seem to get it right, can we?
We're struggling to get it right, and it has to do with the fact that we have steered from the vision. We don't look at impact consciousness, and we just muddle through. Ben Turek calls it spray and pray, a spray and pray approach to equality. In other words, it doesn't mean that the will hasn't been there. It means the science has been lacking.
Tell me about why the science has been lacking, because if the Constitution is regarded globally to support equality and employment and many of its acts and many of its laws, science is one thing. Implementation, I imagine, Professor Madonsela, is another issue that I'm sure you're going to address.
Well, the science of social justice and equality is a difficult science, and I think economists have also muddied the waters. We know economists such as Hayek and Friedman said if you just focus on building a middle class, everyone would be lifted. And now we know that that didn't work. Societies generally have become very unequal. Poverty has increased. Hunger has increased. In South Africa, we've become the most unequal society in the world, partly because of the legacy of legalized injustice in the past. And therefore, what South Africa shouldn't have done is take ordinary economic theories and address an extraordinary situation. And Max Welling and Ntabi Singh have just come up with an economic policy framework where they're saying to us, you can't use old wine skins to contain new wine. So the Constitution is new wine. If you take old wine skins, old theories, and try to advance equality in South Africa, you'll fail. Hence, BEE was designed to fail. Employment equity, on the other hand, was a great idea. However, you couldn't just go for employment equity without looking at systemic structural inequality. We were designed to be an unequal society during colonialism, and this was cemented during apartheid. And the design of a racially stratified society, gender stratified, disability stratified, and other forms of inequality were embedded and systematized in all areas of society: land, ownership of business, education. The family structure was destroyed deliberately to create a permanent black labor class. And therefore, if you're coming in 1994 with the new government and you're trying to level the playing field, going for BE was wrong. In fact, the designers of our Constitution didn't come up with BE, they came up with the Equality Act. And Chapter 5 of the Equality Act was about systematizing the advancement of equality in all areas of life. And Gareth, as I'm speaking to you right now, that Chapter 5 of the Equality Act has never been implemented. But me and you can't sit here and complain. We are in this boat, and personally, I know that there was no malice. I just think the science failed people. So at Stellenbosch University, we're bringing the science.
Well, let's talk about this event that's going to be taking place, Professor, Wednesday, the 4th of November. Tell me about the theme. I quite like this theme because when you talk to professors such as yourself in South Africans see you obviously as the former public protector in your status as a professor, and the legalities of social justice and the Constitution, it just seems almost too complicated for the average South African to try and follow and be part of. But the theme for this year is, and I quote, all hands on deck to leave no one behind. It's true, isn't it? Every single one of us, it's our responsibility to find out how these things work, why they're not working, and get our hands dirty.
Absolutely. All hands on deck to leave no one behind recognizes that already people are doing something. Here you are, you've invited me here because that you're playing your bit in advancing equality. But the idea is to systematize the little lights that are advancing equality and ending poverty in the pursuit of social justice. We want to cement this. Last year we had a summit which was successful. Everyone agreed to the MUSA plan for social justice. This is taking it a step further to the implementation process. We will be launching an M fund where you, me, and others are supposed to pay R5 whenever we want to do so at retail outlets to pull together money that will go to the 4,392 wards to fund projects that advance equality. It will also go to education. This money will also fund what we're talking about as leveraging data analytics to plan better, to move away from one size fits all, to move away from indifference to difference and disadvantage, and plan policy with an understanding of how is it going to impact on everyone, the poor, the villagers, the township, older persons, children, etc. Once we know how a policy is going to impact on existing disparities, we then move forward. If we can't do anything but move forward with this policy, we then move forward with it plus a compensation strategy. Just to give you an example, a fund was put aside to advance business during COVID-19. Instead of looking at the current rules, to what extent were those rules going to enable lending that helps people to cope with COVID? We used these old schemes to contain the new wine. Now we're told only 8% of the money was disbursed. For us at Stellenbosch University and the social justice think tank, we know that this was bound to happen because before you implement, you've got to look at in what way will your rules sabotage your intention.
Professor, that's all going to be part of your discussion coming up on the 4th of November. As we mentioned, the theme, all hands on deck to leave no one behind. I love the way you've explained it. Prof, before I say goodbye to you for your Sunday morning, you used the term little lights in explaining how to move the education forward of our Constitution. Let's talk about little lights, shall we, and Milo's kingdom. It would be remiss of me if I don't remind viewers, not only are you an author of law articles and books about our Constitution, but Milo's Kingdom is a cute little way of fables and poems for our little lights in South Africa. Tell me about your new book.
Oh, thank you, Gareth. Milo's Kingdom is a dream come true for me. It is about transmitting the art of storytelling, the African tradition of storytelling, to help young ones to grow in character, joy, and being grounded in faith. And Melo is my granddaughter, and the whole book is about an elephant that is little and purple, a purple and little elephant that became a queen. Her name is similar to the Princess of Angola, who stood up against colonialism. Her name was Princess Zinga, who eventually became Queen Zinga. So the elephant is modeled against Princess Zinga, and she comes to tell Melo that you are the princess of a lost kingdom. And basically it's about getting little girls and boys to know that they are designed for a unique purpose. That's why they are different. They should embrace their difference. They should embrace the difference of others. And together they can be the light that will change this world and make it less divided, more connected, and above all, a place of belonging, and joy for everyone.
And that's those little lights we're talking about. Grandmother of the Year award, I think, goes to you, writing a children's book based on your first granddaughter. Professor Thuli Madonsela, thank you very much. That event coming up later this week, the second annual Social Justice Summit. Let me remind you of those dates. 4th November, the theme, all hands on deck to leave no one behind. Professor Thuli Madonsela, thank you for your time.